Hey everybody, welcome back to the Badgerland Birding Podcast, bringing you birding news and stories from the Badger State and beyond. Today we're with Tommy Siegel from the band Jukebox the Ghost, who also dips his toes into the bird world, and we'll get into what that means a little bit later. But how's it going, Tommy?
It's good. It's good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's cool because I actually remember learning about your guys' band because you guys played one of the late shows,
Oh
and that's
yeah.
how I was actually
Yeah.
introduced to like you guys in the first place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we've been a band. Somehow we've been a band 21 years, which is starting to mess with my head. But yeah, we were lucky to play Letterman back when that still existed, and Conan a couple times.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a musician, or when did that kind of come about?
I mean, I always wanted to play music. Now, I didn't think of it as a viable. I didn't think of it as a career path. I didn't go to music school for college or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought of it as like a pipe dream. So I liked playing in bands. I liked writing songs, and then met my bandmates in college. And even then, we weren't thinking about it as a career or anything. Even when we made our first album, we were just sort of like, well, I guess you are supposed to make an album. And then yeah, we kind of lucked out into like having enough of a local following at that point that we could, kind of start touring and but without some encouragement, I don't think any of us would have gone down the path that we did. So we're very, very lucky.
Where did kind of that encouragement come from? Fans mostly, or did you have like some mentors that really helped you guys along?
I mean, it was really just the simple fact of all of a sudden we had fans. I mean, we were playing to nobody like in college where we met. For every gig, we were lucky to bring the same 15 friends over and over again. And then something clicked when we had music out on MySpace finally, and
MySpace. Yep.
we had been aggressively flyering campus for months, and we had an EP release show, and like 700 people came out, and we had this moment of like, wait a minute, okay, this is like maybe this is a real thing, and for everywhere else in the country outside of DC, we were still playing for 15 people for years, but eventually other places caught up.
Awesome. If you weren't a musician, what career path were you thinking about going down?
Well, I was a park ranger during summers and during school and college, and for like a year after college as well. And I really liked it, so I definitely I could have seen myself going down that path. I also like, have always been an avid doodler, so I think at
Hmm.
some point I would have started taking that more seriously. Um, but in the timeline where I became a musician and touring all the time, I only started taking drawing seriously about 7 years ago.
Okay. Cool. I think that'll get us into the drawing portion where I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
share some of your work here.
Great,
And
excellent.
I'm going to describe it for people that are listening audio only, but we have some of your sketches here of the most extremely accurate birds.
100% accurate. Yeah.
100% accurate. Ornithologist approved, probably. There's probably some ornithologist that's like, yep, that's exactly accurate.
I appreciate that David Sibley has a sense of humor and actually commented on one of my Instagram posts a while back saying like, "Wow, he's really nailed it. He's been observing them in the field for
Yeah,
so."
maybe he'll adopt some of your illustrations into his field guides. But for those that aren't watching, they're birds with human-like legs. Um, there's something artistic about it, but also something insanely uncomfortable about it, I would say.
I just simply strive to draw them as accurate as I can. They move quickly, and yeah, as a result, it's difficult sometimes to see their rump and legs through the foliage and in shrubs. And so I'm doing the best I can to show how they must look based on their incredible nimble physical activities.
Yes, of course. I think there's a real missed opportunity here for yellow-rumped warbler in some capacity.
Well, I had it in a calendar a couple of years
Okay,
ago.
okay,
So yeah,
cool.
yeah. I'm always hesitant to put too many of my illustrations on my website because every year there's always like an infinite number of like weird overseas, mostly based in China, like kind of like scam companies that will like take my art and then like sell their own version of
Oh,
the
that's too bad.
calendar. Yeah, so I'm always like kind of like I'd love to put all of my art on the website, but I can't trust the internet.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So if birds actually could walk, like in your illustrations, which one do you think would dominate the world?
The sandhill crane.
That's probably fair.
I mean, also just the dancing skills, generally speaking. I mean, that's just like an impressive prehistoric bird.
100%.
I
And with the
really feel like I
vocalization and the dancing combined. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, no, when I'm around a sandhill crane, I feel like I'm around the combination of a dinosaur and Fred Astaire.
Yeah. I can see it. Fred Astaire works for, for the music too, because I know you guys
That's
have
true. That's
that
true. We
song,
do have
Fred
a song called
Astaire.
Fred
Yeah.
Astaire. Yeah.
So how did this come about? Like, did you just start sketching and you had half a bird and you're like, what would be good for the other half? Or where did it all start?
I mean, to break character for a moment, I mean, yeah, I mean, in 20, I, I'm trying to think. I started getting to birding like right before the pandemic, like in New York, like just, birding in Brooklyn. And, yeah, and I was kind of looking for I was kind of burnt out at that point of just like, I did this project where I drew a cartoon every day for 500 days. And at the end of it, I was kind of just like, whoa, what the hell do I do now? I was so sucked into that social media maelstrom for a year and a half that I kind of needed to like really turn it off. And so I got way deeper into birding and was also just trying to do cartoons or not even cartoons, so just do drawing just for me. So I was going to like a lot of life drawing events, like, and also started to try to draw birds, like, and I wasn't thinking of something I could post publicly. Like I was getting better at it, but I was sort of like, I can't put this on Instagram. No one will care. And then I had this thought of like, but wait, but wait. And so yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. I mean, it sort of like became a layered gag because the first time I posted it, they had bird legs, and I said like, let me know if you have any constructive criticism, and someone was like, the legs don't look quite right. So then I reposted my own version with the legs and rump that you see today.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
With that 500 days exercise, was the purpose of that just to test your skills out there, or what was kind of the drive with that? Because I know you mentioned being burnt out. I know some people would probably just quit like middle of it, but obviously, credit to you for
Yeah, yeah.
finishing it out, even feeling burnt out with it. What was the main purpose of that? And clearly, I
I'm.
feel like it led to where you are. So,
It
I
did. It
mean,
did.
yeah, the
It.
burnout I think was good in a way.
Yeah. I needed. There was like a year there after the fact where I needed to like reset. But in hindsight now, I can see that it actually was worth it. But yeah, I'd seen another cartoonist do a year challenge. Like he drew a comic every day for a year, and I kind of like caught on to him in the middle of that, and I was just like, well, this guy's gonna flame out. This isn't gonna work, but every day I was kind of like, he's actually getting better, like and as time went on, it was just getting crazier and better, and I don't know. I'd never taken drawing seriously. I didn't really know what I had to say in the medium, and so I think it was like just an excuse for me to like play in the sandbox of illustration and see if I had a voice, if I had anything to say. But yeah, it definitely forced me to get better at drawing, and it forced me to figure out like what it was for me as a medium and what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And I know you had one of your comics in the New Yorker recently. It was actually a music theme one.
Yeah,
So congrats
yeah.
on that. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, I'm a sucker for a challenge. So I started challenging myself to do New Yorker submissions a few years ago, and luckily I sort of wore them down, and I've become a regular contributor now.
that's cool. I was looking through some of them. I actually really liked this comic of yours with the
A
Northern
birder centric
Mockingbird.
comic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And he's watching a YouTube video that says creating original songs, and he's really stressed out. Because mockingbirds, they mock a lot of stuff. I feel like, stuff you wouldn't think a lot of people would get, like the birding. Sometimes you make a bird thing that's really niche, and people just love it. And I feel like it is kind of the nicheness of it that makes it so appealing.
For sure. I feel like niche is like what we're all learning is like, if we have a system on the internet where algorithmically it's just supposed to find whoever is into that thing, it's like niche is the new arena. right? It's like, there's a reason that like obscure, Dungeons and Dragons podcasts or whatever can like sell out like, Madison Square Garden or whatever. It's just like the more niche you are, the more people I think feel like they're part of a community or being seen. But yeah, I didn't. That being said, I mean, my following is not exactly always jonesing for specific birder content, so hopefully they're bearing with me through this phase.
Well, I was gonna ask you, when people know of you, is it like separate people know you for music and separate people know you for the bird stuff, or is it kind of like they all kind of know you for both things?
Uh, yeah, I would say that there's not a lot of overlap. I think that the people who follow my cartoon accounts know my cartoons, and then every once in a while someone connects the dots that I play in a band or whatever. But yeah, I'm always kind of confused, unsure how to I guess talk to my own audience, because I think a lot of people are into the Candy Hearts comics that I
Hmm.
do, and some people are into the New Yorker thing, some people are into the bird stuff, some people are into the music, and so I feel like I'm making everyone equally unhappy all the time. No one's getting what they want from me.
Well, I don't know if I'd look at it that way. Maybe there's a little something for everyone,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah, yeah.
spin it like that. But for those
I
that don't
like
know
that.
about the candy hearts, it's like basically two hearts in a relationship and they're like thinking different things. So it's like the funny juxtaposition of like a one's like, oh, a fun board game, and the other one's like, I'm gonna dominate this board game. So it's like funny kind of couple stuff. If people want to check that out as well. But are there any bird species that you won't draw because it's just like too weird of a combination, or like that just didn't work out?
Uh, no, I mean, I would say I've mostly stuck to like North American birds.
So there's a whole,
Um,
you know, open niche of other countries' birds out there.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like drawing what I know generally. So like a lot, the calendars are usually something that I'm like thinking about. So like next year's calendar, for instance, like I went to Hawaii, and so saw a lot of red crested cardinals, which are a very interesting, technically invasive bird from Brazil to Hawaii, but they're very cool. And so yeah, those are in next year's calendar, and yeah, spent some time in the Badlands this summer, so I was drawing western meadowlarks, because that whole area, you know the sort of like prairie landscape is just crawling with western meadowlarks. It's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, have you been to like Badlands like area?
I
And
haven't. My brother has, and he shot some film there, and it made me really want to go visit because it's just like, and I don't think a lot of people bird there, so it kind of feels like you're in a little bit of like an unexplored territory because it's mostly kind of tourist activity. So it's pretty
y-
cool.
it was a really cool birding area. I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect, and between the Black Hills and the Badlands kind of prairie area, I mean, like, I think I saw like 90 species in 5 days or something. It was really cool.
Yeah, there's so much to explore in the US. Like, I think people from other countries kind of underestimate how different even just each state is. Like, it's basically like its own little
Totally.
country. So there you could spend an entire lifetime just exploring the US and still be finding new things to see.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the arrogance they would have if France had a Grand Canyon or an Escalante. You know what I mean? They would. Yeah. So yeah, the U.S. is just like, I mean, I feel like that's where any sense of patriotism that I have comes from, just like the fact that we have like some of the most unbelievable public land in the world, and very different. You know.
Yeah, so you started birding in New York. Where have your travels taken you in addition to Hawaii and like the Badlands area?
Um. Yeah. I mean, all over. I mean, I feel very lucky as from my you know the way that I do work is
Hmm.
touring a lot of the year, and that also is very coincidentally great for birding,
Yeah.
which is my other hobby career. So I feel like I always end up with like a pretty amazing year end list without like it makes it look like I'm taking a lot of expensive bird vacations, but I'm really not. I'm just like hanging out at if you hang out at enough gas stations all over the country, you're going to see a pretty wide variety of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
So as because I know as a musician, your schedule's like you're, playing shows late and stuff. Are your bandmates like think you're crazy for waking up early and going to go see birds and spend extra time doing that?
Well, here's where I'm not a very good birder. I don't do a lot of getting up early unless
Yeah.
I'm at home, you know. So, yeah, I don't do that on tour. I don't get up super early. So I'm not seeing the rare species in Iowa on our show in Des Moines. I'm seeing like whatever's
The
hanging
house
out in the
sparrow in
parking
the
lot
gas
that day.
station and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can still see some. You don't necessarily have to wake up super early, but it definitely is an advantage if you can.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I do that here in LA, which is also a great birding place. I feel like kind of an
Yeah,
underrated
definitely.
birding location. Yeah.
Well, all of California, like up and down, there's so many cool things to see. Um, have you done a pelagic trip yet?
I haven't, and I'm
You might
scared
you
to
might
because I
enjoy
get
that.
seasick.
Okay, never mind. Maybe you won't enjoy that.
Maybe I can take enough Boney to get me through the ride,
Maybe you
but
start just go to the harbor and look out and just kind of
yeah, yeah,
vibe it out
totally.
and see.
But no, I would like to do that. That feels like a whole. That's just like to me the pelagic thing and the gull thing is like I'm almost saving that. I feel like for my
Retirement.
50s and 60s, just because I feel like I need to save some part of the birding experience for later. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to dig in though, because it is unbelievably challenging. I mean, I find hawks challenging sometimes, and gulls are on another level, you know?
Yeah, but we need the extremely accurate gulls calendar so that we can identify the gulls as well. So we need you to tackle that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, yeah. I do have the opportunity to go on a pelagic trip. My podcast mate and I've got a podcast called Extremely Accurate Bird
Yep.
Songs for anyone listening. Um, we have this bit where we're, writing a song for every bird species, and we were just invited to play the San Diego birding
Oh, nice.
festival.
Congratulations.
So there is a pelagic trip that we were invited on as well. So
I feel
hoping
like you
to,
have to
I
try.
have to.
Yeah. It's fun. It's like a totally different experience being out on the water and birding.
Yeah, where have you been?
So we did the Westport Seabirds trip out of Washington, which was really cool. And
Mm.
then I did one out of Hatteras in North Carolina, but that one was like a winter one. But off the West Coast, like the shelf, like the deep water areas are way closer to shore. So you
Oh,
see birds
interesting.
faster than like in the East. In the East, you have to go further, so it's like you got to go faster and it's bumpier. So West
Gotcha. They
Coast
take
is
they take you out to the
probably
Marianas Trench or whatever.
you go pretty far. Like it can. I had a friend who got seasick on the trip we went out to. I don't really get seasick that much, so I feel thankful for that. But the West was definitely smoother than the East.
Did you see any birds like blow your mind?
Yeah, like it's a totally different ecosystem. So you see like little storm petrels that are these, not massive birds, but they're just out there in the open ocean and they'll just like pick at the surface of the water. And then you see like these massive albatross, and it's just there's nothing
Cool.
else out there except these birds pretty much. And then some of the marine mammals, and you can see sharks and stuff pop up. And we saw an ocean sunfish. That was really cool.
Cool. All right, you've sold me. I'll drug myself up. I'll make it happen.
I think it's worth giving it a shot. If you hate it, you don't have to ever do it again, but it's a cool experience to say you did it at least.
Have you seen the new that Channel 5 documentary that came out this year? What is it? Listers or Lifers can't
Yeah, I
remember what
have
it's
seen
called.
it.
Um, you haven't seen it.
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. But there's one part where they go out on a boat to look for pelagic
That
birds,
that
and
could be you
that
throwing
could be
up on the
me.
back of the
Yeah,
boat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What birding bucket list experiences besides the pelagic have you not done that you want to do in the future?
I mean, I've never done any. I mean, again, I feel like I'm saving stuff for like later in life, but like I've just been doing it as a way to appreciate my own surroundings wherever I am. I have not done it as a way to go on a cool trip at all. Um, and so I'm really excited to go to like Central America. I mean,
Oh yeah, like
it
Coast.
just,
I
yeah.
I
Have you been?
can't. Yeah, I can't recommend Costa Rica enough because it's very
Ugh,
accessible as like an outsider, and the food was amazing. The birds were amazing. The sloths are cool. It's just like I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's a little bit overwhelming with how much new stuff you can see and just trying to be like, what's that one? What's that one? What's that one? Like, and then not knowing what's quote unquote rare. So you're like trying to see everything. You're like, I might never see one of those again. Then you see like 30 before the end of your trip. And then
Wow.
like there's another one where it is the only time you saw it. So it's just fun. If you want to just get overwhelmed by beauty of the bird world, yeah, Costa Rica, like Central America is a good place to start.
I can't even imagine. I'll be sobbing. I mean, because even when I went to Copenhagen not that long ago, and even just birding in Europe, I was like, there's so many different birds. Like just in like a city park.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't been to Europe yet, but it's on the list of places to go. If you want to kind of dip your toes into that, South Texas is really cool, and it has a lot of species that you
Mm.
can only find there in the U.S. because like it's so far south, it's practically Mexico.
I've
So a
heard
lot of
that's a hot spot. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. We just had the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival in November. And so
Cool.
like, a bunch of people gather there and you can see some of the species you would find in like Mexico, Central America.
Like, where would you go? Like Big Bend or like?
Big Bend's even like far further north than I'm talking like
Oh, you,
Brownsville,
you you're talking
like
like near McAllen or something.
yeah, McAllen,
Okay.
Harlingen, like that area. And
Interesting.
it's another place where it feels like you're transported to a different area. Rio Grande Valley, Southeast Arizona is definitely a must visit.
Yeah, I've done some great birding in
Yeah.
Tucson for sure, like in Saguaro,
Yeah,
around there.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's really cool. See here in the cactus runs and stuff.
yeah. Cactus runs are so cool. They've
Yeah,
got they've got the riz, as the
they
kids say.
yeah, they do. Probably one of my favorite runs. Like they're just massive. They make cool noises. A lot of
Y-
attitude.
Yeah, it's almost hard to believe that they're like a wren. They're just like they're so much bigger and more aggressive than a typical wren, and just again so much riz.
Yeah, 100%. Saxon Bog is a cool place if you can handle the cold.
Where?
Saxon Bog in Minnesota.
Oh, cool.
It's
Okay, is
like
that like upper?
northeast, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's
Yeah.
boreal forest, and you can see like great gray owls on a good year. You can see like boreal owls, just like a whole host of species that live like way up in the north.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been dying to. I did a portage trip in Algonquin, and I've been really wanted to do one in like Boundary Waters kind of
Oh
area.
yeah, yeah. The best time to go is in the winter for that kind of stuff. But like Boundary
Neat.
Waters any time of year is cool too.
Yeah, way cool.
I want to hear a little bit more about the places you've gone with the band that you've been able to explore. Tell me about some of those spots.
Like on a birding level.
Yeah, like you were there to play a show and then you got to go out and see something cool you maybe didn't expect or got to
Well,
appreciate.
what I love about it is to me like, you know, I mean, I think you talked about this on another episode for one of your guests, but I do think like just one of the amazing things about birding, and I think something about it that makes you a better, just like a more aware human, is that like it forces you to actually engage with your outside environment instead of just your own
Hmm.
thoughts. And part of the beauty of that to me is that you can be in somewhere kind of ordinary and have like an extraordinary experience. So like, I mean, like on this most recent tour, I mean, one that's coming to mind is like we just stopped in just like a state rest stop bathroom on the side of the highway, and there happened to be like a beautiful lake nearby and some I don't know what kind of southern pine trees they were in South Carolina. And I was just looking at these tiny little birds flying around in the upper canopy and couldn't figure out what the heck they were, and eventually pulled out Merlin just to do a sound ID, and yeah, it was like a new lifer. You know what I mean? Like at uh, a rest stop. It was the brown-headed nuthatch,
Nice.
which I didn't know there was a nuthatch that was like local to the southeast. So it's like just like little to me like little discoveries like that just kind of like yeah they just add up. I mean like even when I'm rehearsing with the band in Brooklyn, the other two guys live in Brooklyn, like I'm always seeing something cool in Prospect Park. It's just like just wild to have like in the middle of a city just this oasis where like you can kind of feel like you're having an actual nature experience, which if you're into mammaling, you might be let down. But if as a birder, you know, there's a range of experience that is still very cool.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing to me is when you start noticing the birds around you. Like that experience with the nuthatch is like if you weren't into birds, you would have just been like, oh, there's some birds up there. But
Yeah,
like having that interest, it became this cool experience of like, oh, there's something I've never seen before that's up there. And then you learn about it and you learn a bit about the natural world. And I think that's the thing that happened to us is we watched the movie The Big Year. Have you watched that?
I haven't seen it yet. That's a
Dude, you
Jack
have
Black
to
movie,
see it.
right?
Yeah,
Is it good?
100%. It's so good.
Okay, great.
People bill it as like I think it didn't do as well because people thought it was going to be this big comedy, but it's more like a heartwarming story.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Okay.
it was the thing that we watched it and we were like, man, people like do this. Like people go out and they look for different birds. Like that looks fun, and we just got hooked on it. But we started noticing like things even in our town. We were like found this Arctic duck species that's like not rare, but we had just never looked in the park in winter. We were like, how amazing is that? Like we never looked at that before. And I think that's the thing that with birding, you get all these cool experiences that you wouldn't get if you weren't looking, if you didn't care enough to check it out, or if you didn't care to go explore. So I think that's the really cool thing about it.
Totally. And I love turning people onto it too, because like, not even as on a hobby level, but just being like, hey, look at that, you know? And in LA, like, I don't know, when I'm walking with a friend in Griffith Park, like, you know, if it's a friend who's never noticed an acorn woodpecker, I mean, like, that is a crazy cool bird when you like dig into like what they're doing and how they look. And, you know, it's just like yeah, an amazing gateway bird.
You're like, look at that clown looking thing up there. It's
Yeah,
got
they
like a
really,
million acorns in that tree.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I wasn't sure if other people felt that way. They do look like clowns.
Yeah, they
That's
kind of have
always
like a
been my
clown
thought.
makeup on.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
do your bandmates bird too? Or are they like, oh, Tommy, like he's at the rest stop again?
They're not birders. But Jesse's a big tree guy. So
Okay.
our
You
drummer
guys kind of
Jesse.
go hand in hand then.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can go on walks now and share information. That's been really great. We've had some really nice hikes in the last like, couple years of touring. Because yeah, he's amazing at tree ID, and I'm trying to absorb his knowledge as much as I can. And Ben has joked about that he wants to become he's our piano player. He's joked that he wants to become a bug guy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We have a friend Alex who's like an entomologist, and it was so fun going with. He's a big bird guy too, but it was so fun going out with him and seeing insects and being like, Alex, what's that? And he could just tell you all about it, and you also then learn to appreciate it more because you're like, oh yeah, like that's cool. We would he caught like a tarantula hawk, you know, the thing that can sting
Cool.
you, and like I think it's the one of the males or females, one of them doesn't sting. So you can actually like hold it and not worry about it stinging you. But just like cool stuff like that. He's picking up tarantulas and stuff. So
Wow.
find specialists in your life, man, and go hang out with them and they'll teach you cool things.
Yeah, it's funny how like don't you feel like you grow up with this idea that like, you know, when you find out someone's into coin collecting or whatever, you're just like, that's just loser adult stuff. You know what I mean? I'm cool and young. And like the older I get, the more I realize like it's like not having a passionate hobby like that is such a red flag, and having one is such a green flag. Like everybody cool that I know has some weird thing that they're like super fixated on and have like an academic kind of, you know, knowledge on.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that growing up with people in different hobbies. I feel like everyone just kind of did everything. You know, like we would all play like a million sports and just kind of try a little bit of everything. I feel like now the world might be a little more specialized, as in like people try to find one thing. You know, with sports too, like I feel like you
totally.
you have to pick one to be really good at, and it's hard to do anything well if you're kind of dipping your toes and everything. But I think that's like the best way to find out what you like is just trying a bunch of different stuff.
For sure. Yeah, and like the sort of like niche portals that the internet provides, I think like that's like one positive thing I think you could say about the internet is allows the opportunity to like really deeply explore something like that without like getting 50 library books.
Yeah.
So like I mean like yeah, I ran into it actually like god, he was probably like I don't know, 11, 12-year-old kid who was just birding in Prospect Park who came up to me and my podcast host. We were out co-host. We were out birding, and he was so much more knowledgeable than me.
Dude, the
Talk,
prodigies.
yeah, and but I had the thought of like, I wonder if this kid would have existed 20 years ago, or if this is something that only could happen in this era because he can, you know,
Was he
really latch
homeschooled?
onto that information. I have no idea. We didn't
Dude, there's so many like homeschooled young prodigy birders that are incredible.
really
Yeah, it's like a thing. Like you'll meet like a 9-year-old
interesting.
kid and he'll be telling you about the subspecies of tern you can find in the local like zone. Will be like, that's the fifth time that subspecies has ever been seen here. They're just these like wealths
Yeah.
of information. You're like, you as far as like being a professional birder can go, like whatever that means to you, like you're gonna be that when you're older if you don't quit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, look, may this interest, grow so much that there can be opportunities like that. I mean, I love the wave of birding awareness that seems to be happening in the last like 5 years. Like it's really awesome. I don't see a downside there, you know?
COVID helped, with people realizing what's going on. I kind of see it like pickleball. Yeah, like pickleball was around. People knew
Uh-huh.
about pickleball, but like the last couple of years, people have been obsessed with pickleball. I could see
Totally.
that happening with birding.
Totally.
Yeah, one thing I do have questions about is if you have some of these species that are quote unquote like more sensitive, like certain owl species, and already you get people kind of going over some ethical lines, getting too close and stuff like that. I think as we get more
Mm-hmm.
people into the hobby, it's kind of on the people already in it to help educate people about ethics and all that kind of stuff. So that's always a thing too. With COVID, I think the national parks too, you had an influx of people going and exploring. There was like more trash and stuff there too.
Totally.
So I think it's kind of a, group responsibility of like more people in the hobby, but like we need to be ethical and responsible about sharing it together.
For sure. I mean, I think on some level I have to believe that this sort of net good of people being aware of their surroundings and the natural world around them, like, because, like, for example, it would be terrible if like somebody just newly into birding and trying to get as many birds on their eBird, app as possible. And it's just like catcalling birds with, rare birds with the sounds on the app or whatever. Like that's not great, right? That's like
Yeah.
messing with their behavior and whatever. But on the other hand, like when I compare it to the scale of destruction that human beings have piled upon the bird world, it's like it does feel like maybe that's infinitesimal compared to like building a subdivision, or whatever it is,
Yeah,
like our sins are greater is
you
all I
gotta
mean.
hope that the added interest is gonna help people save land and conserve places that are important
Yeah,
and
hopefully it
all
gets
that kind of
people interested
stuff.
in public land. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's all I gotta hope. I mean, like that's in the at the end of the day, that's like the best thing for for birds. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it gets people interested in planting native plants in their yard to attract more birds. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot that can be done on an individual level, even just in your backyard with helping preserve species and stuff like that. I was gonna ask, do you have a spark bird, a bird that really got you into the hobby in the first place? Or maybe it was the first one you drew.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was it's funny. Me and my podcast host have talked about this. Kind of we share a spark bird, which is the mourning dove. So we did our first episode of our bird rock podcast about the mourning dove. But yeah, I mean, just because like in New York, it's I don't know if you're just starting to notice birds. I mean, I guess I knew what it was before then, but like if you're in New York, you kind of see the European starling, the house sparrow, and the pigeon. That's
Yeah.
like
The big three. Maybe the
that's ninety
ring-billed gull
percent of
too.
yeah, yeah. But if like you're on a city street, that's like all you see, right? So I just remember like walking in Central Park and stumbling upon like a bunch of like mourning doves and just being like, oh my god, what are these? Is this some
You're like,
crazy
I'm in the
special
wild.
dove? Yeah, yeah. But I had that moment, and yeah, I can't knock it. I had the moment.
It's funny. A lot of people think the mourning dove vocalization's an owl. So they'll be like,
Yeah,
I have all these owls hanging out outside my yard. You're like, when are they calling? You're like, during the day. You're like, I think you got some doves hanging out.
Totally. I did a cartoon, one of my birder specific cartoons about that recently.
That's totally warranted. And
Yeah.
also, it is really nostalgic for a lot of people. Like if they
I mean,
hear
it's
it
a beautiful
online,
sound.
they'll be like, "I haven't heard those since I was a kid." And I'm like, "I think you just don't go outside anymore. Like I think you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to go take a walk, and you'll probably hear one because they're people are like I thought they were extinct."
Well, we have to have you on our podcast as well, but we have a sound that we play whenever we talk about someone's spark bird. But check this out. That's the sound of a bird sparking and exploding.
Nice. I like it. You want to tell us a little bit about your guys' podcast?
Yeah. So yeah, me and my friend Billy, Billy Libby. He's amazing musician and composer. But we started a podcast. Both as musicians and songwriters, kind of as a bit to saying that we're writing and recording a song for every single bird species. And then, on each episode, we talk about the bird, we play the song for a bird expert, and then the bird expert tells us if it's extremely accurate or not. And it's just been a really fun exercise. I think for musicians like us who have been doing it for a long time, it's really refreshing to do something very silly. And also something where we get to flex different muscles than we're allowed to flex in, our bands or in our composing world. So yeah, because we kind of follow the muse wherever it goes. So we just did an Osprey episode, and that one's a Metallica, just heavy, fish killer kind of song,
That seems extremely accurate.
Yeah, so it's just been really fun to explore different genres. We did kind of a sexy runway strut for the red-winged blackbird, for the sexy male red-winged blackbird. Do you know Dan Baldessari?
No, I don't.
He goes by the handle Evornithology. He's an awesome online birding advocate and a professor at SUNY Oswego. Yeah, we had him on for that one.
Yeah, I'll have to check his stuff out. Have you heard the yellow-headed blackbird vocalization?
I haven't.
It sounds like a dying cat. For
Cool.
how cool the red-winged blackbird is, it's terrible to listen to. You just hear it. You hear it out in the field. You're just like, ooh, I don't know if that's gonna attract a mate, buddy, but I guess it does.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I've been finding that these recording these songs helps me remember the bird calls a lot better, because I kind of have this haptic memory with it now of actually having to put it into a song.
Yeah.
Which I've been really bad. Are you good at identifying bird calls? I'm getting better, but
it takes
it's hard.
a long time. So me and Ryan, my brother, we've been birding for over 10 years now. And I'm just starting to feel really proficient about, the stuff we have around where we are. So it does take a long time to get used to it. Because at first when we started, you would hear all this stuff and you'd be like, oh, what's that? What's that? You're like, I bet that's something really rare. And you just have this feeling like you're missing stuff all the time. And now when I go out, I'll be like, oh, that's that. That's this. Ooh, what's that? We should go track that down. And you feel much more centered. You're like, I know what all this stuff is that's going on, and you're able to pick out unknown stuff more easily. So it is a really cool transition. But then you go to a place you don't bird, like the West, and you're like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. So it resets again.
Yeah.
And, then you go to Costa Rica, and you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. And, starting from square one here.
Amazing. Well, actually, do you mind? Could I play a sample of one of the
Please do,
the bird
yeah.
songs here?
I'd love to hear it. Give us a little background.
Well, so we were talking about the red-winged blackbird, so I might as well play that one. It's kind of we ended up, there's a few different directions we thought about, but we ended up going with kind of a I'm too sexy sort of.
Cool. Do I need to have you click a button to share audio, or are you good to...
No, I've got it set up with my computer so that I can
Cool.
just play it. But yeah, here's the red-winged blackbird. I'll just play a verse and a chorus.
That's a red-winged blackbird. From Chicago to LA, from coast to coast, that's where you'll find me. Haven't you heard? I'm a red-winged blackbird. When you're a bird that looks as good as me, you'd be ashamed to waste it on monogamy. I have up to 15 mates, and I can't wait for my next mate. We're fine, and we know it. That's right. Little red, little yellow on the shoulder, and we're gonna show it. Fashion. We're fine, and we know it. That's right. Little red, little yellow on the shoulder, and we're gonna show it. Fashion. From Canada to Mexico.
Anyways, I get the vibe.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I feel like listening to that, I can feel how much fun you guys had creating that together.
Oh, it's such a blast.
Yeah,
It's so
like
fun.
it's impossible to hear that and not be like they had an incredible time making this.
Well, you're just not allowed to make music like that in any kind of other
I mean,
context,
you are.
you know?
I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's true.
So, are you guys going to be playing those at the San Diego Birding Festival then?
Yeah, so we're doing like a set. So
That's
we're,
cool. Like an acoustic
you
set, or are you bringing? What are y'all bringing in?
know, well, we're gonna do it acoustic duo like Flight of the Conchords style.
Okay, you bringing in a red-winged blackbird to like on-demand vocalize when you need it to?
Oh yeah, we've got a red-winged blackbird in the band, so
Okay, good. You need a mockingbird in the band, and then he can do,
really do.
multiple things, and you don't have to pay all the birds. Then
I'm excited to cover the mockingbird on the podcast because I think we have a great concept. We haven't fully worked out how it's gonna be, but like, you know, to me, what would make sense with the mockingbird for a mockingbird song would be like, you know, every line of verse it turns into a different genre,
that sounds
Right?
about right.
you know, like one verse is Dylan, and then you know, it switches completely to like Jay-Z or something for another verse, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. One thing I feel like I appreciate about you, Tommy, is you're always doing something. You know, it seems like you're either making one drawing a day or you're making bird songs. You know, I feel like you're always up to something.
Yeah, I mean, that can be good and bad, right? Like I have to force myself to like slow down. Like I can definitely be like, I'm sort of like a workaholic.
ADHD.
Yeah, I'm like ADHD. You know, like there's the ADHD side where you can do hyperfocus mode. I get like that. So the problem is like I get really excited about something, and then that's all, and then I just like forget to eat for 2 days, and I'm just making, you know.
I feel like that's just the artistic journey, you know?
Yeah,
Getting
right?
inspired and then getting caught up in it.
Okay, I have a very specific question. Is it being the Badger State? Is it exclusively about the sports team, or are there a lot of Badgers in Wisconsin?
I've never seen a badger in Wisconsin.
I've never seen a Badger. Period. Have you?
No, not except at the zoo. I guess I
Yeah,
have seen
same.
one in Wisconsin, but not in the wild.
Yeah,
I feel like we don't have a lot of badgers. Like people are ecstatic if they see a badger around here. But like, does Michigan have a lot of wolverines?
No, crawling with them.
So, I mean, how extremely accurate is any of this stuff when it comes to, you know, team names and things?
Yeah, totally. I was just in Wisconsin I guess like a month ago.
You should have hit us up.
I know, I didn't. I don't think I had made the connection at that point.
Where you guys playing?
We played the Turner Ballroom.
Oh,
in-
nice.
Yeah,
That's a cool place.
yeah. But we've done we always go either there or the Majestic in Madison.
Okay, yeah. Turner Hall is interesting because there's actually a climbing and like fitness gym underneath it,
Oh, really?
and like yeah, it's called Milwaukee Turners, and they have like a rock climbing area. And then like the building is a historic building, so like the ceiling is falling, so they have like
It is
the net
indeed. They have a
on top.
net. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little intense, but it's a cool room.
It's definitely a cool room.
Yeah, cavernous.
Yeah, seen some really cool bands there. Wisconsin actually has a lot of good venues between Milwaukee and Madison and places to play.
Oh, for sure. I love the Eagle Ballroom too. That's like a
Yep.
great crusty rock club. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
there's
I have
the supposed haunted pool there too.
it. Have you seen it? It is.
I have not
It's
seen
not.
it. No,
It's not supposedly. That thing is haunted as hell. It's the
for sure.
scariest pool I've ever seen. Yeah, you could just like. It's just when you walk in the room, you're like, oh no, this is the pool where something bad happened.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff in the state.
Yeah,
What's
for
your
sure.
favorite venue you guys have ever played?
We just closed out our tour at, I think, like we all kind of agree is like the best club in the country, just because it's like really great, always consistently great sound, great vibe, well run. It's independently run, which is sort of rare. The 930 Club in DC.
Oh, okay.
It's just like if you had like a prototypical like ideal, 1,200 person club, like that's it. Yeah, and like if it does they do a cool thing there that a lot of venues started doing, I think after they did it, which is that like the stage is movable. So if a show is undersold, like let's say there's like they only sold 700 tickets, they just move the stage up and it still feels packed.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's like a great like it makes it every show there is a great vibe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there
How about you? Do you have a favorite?
a venue that I've been to?
Yeah.
Madison made this new venue called the Sylvie that I really like.
Cool.
It's I don't know if the capacity would be more than the other theater, but it's like very open on the bottom and they have like a cool top, like kind of a round section. So kind of like a horseshoe balcony.
Hmm.
But it's like a good vibe. It's a good newer place. We did see me and Ryan went to go see Coldplay at Mile High Stadium.
Oh,
And
wow.
this was before the like quote unquote kiss cam incident. And so I felt like we had like insider information because the weird reporting on that is it was never a kiss cam. It's just part of the concert where they show people
Oh.
in the audience. And they're like Chris Martin sings a little thing about them. And so I feel like it made it even worse because it wasn't like they were supposed to kiss. It was just like, hey, we're gonna show people in the audience.
Yeah, like like if they hadn't tried to hide, it wouldn't have even been a big deal. Like,
No, it would have just been like, oh, two people in the audience. I'm gonna
yeah.
sing about you guys. Yeah, but it was the reaction that made the whole thing.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Cool.
But yeah, we felt like we had some insider knowledge there. But seeing Coldplay was really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've heard they're great live. Never seen them.
Yeah. What are some of your guys' influences? It sounds very
Um,
reminiscent of like modern Queen. Is kind of my take.
yeah, I mean, Queen has become a big influence for, and this is for my band, Jukebox the Ghost,
Mhm.
for anyone listening who's like, what? Yeah, we do a thing every year called Halloween, where we do, for the last 10 years anyway, where around Halloween we do a two-set show where we do like a set as ourselves, and then we take a set break and come out as Queen and play a full set of Queen. And so just from doing that and having to like really deeply learn a lot of the Queen repertoire, I think like that has influenced our music, or just given us license to like do things that they might do. But yeah, I mean, generally like the three of us don't agree on much, but we all love the Beatles. That's always a good frame of reference. Our pianist is a big classical guy, so I hear his classical influence in his songwriting and playing all the time. Our drummer is kind of a more of a punk rock guy, so he definitely tries to move things into a more propulsive kind of rock direction. And then I kind of came up from like a classic rock and jam band sort of thing, and then and then being an obsessive indie rock head through the kind of Pitchfork era. So yeah, we just sort of like try and find common ground between all that, and if we can, then it becomes a song for the band.
And I feel like that's what makes it cool is all the different styles kind of competing and meshing with each other. Like one of you might come up with something and play it in a way that you wouldn't have seen it, but it makes it cooler or makes it, more something for the band.
For sure. And I think we've learned to embrace that.
Hmm.
Like, because in the past we might have tried to like hammer each other into doing exactly what we wanted them to do. And now it's kind of like, I'll write a song that's just a guitar song and I'll just toss it to Ben and be like, "Can you do like some like crazy classical piano stuff?" You know, and
He's like,
he's
"I got
amazing
you."
at it. Yeah, totally right. And yeah, vice versa. I feel like he can come to me and be like, "Can you play like a really hammy Brian May solo?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's what makes, playing with other people so special.
For sure. For sure. And it takes getting out of your 20s and that kind of like weird ego space when you're younger to like realize that. But yeah, the different flavors that we bring to the band, I think are like, yeah, that's why we're a band. So you got to embrace it.
So like the cartoon stuff, do you write every day? Is that something you challenge yourself to do too?
I don't. I really should. I mean, I was actually horrified recently when I was talking to a cartoonist friend of mine, this guy, Asher Perlman, where we both are submit to the New Yorker all the time, and he's become a good friend. But, I was kind of joking with him about like process because I don't really have one. And then I was just horrified that he was like, "Oh no, like every morning I free write for an hour." And I was like, "Oh no." Yeah, I guess I should be doing that. So no, I mean, I feel like it comes in waves for me. Like I'll go on a hike and have like 20 ideas, and then I won't have an idea for a month. So I just count on those weird spurts of creativity to kind of get me through life.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I love about birding too, is you can be as intense or as casual with it as you want.
Yeah.
You can just be a backyard birder and just be like, "Oh, that nuthatch is really cool. Like, let me put out some more seeds." Or you can be like hiking in the Andes looking for, the specific thing, or it really is whatever you want it to be, which I think makes it so accessible and so just like, I don't know, it's one thing that I feel like if I could incorporate into everyone's lives, like if I could just magically be like, "Hey, you're going to start noticing birds now." Like I feel like it would make everybody's lives better.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, but it made my life better. So, I don't know. I feel like my personality would be a little different if I hadn't gotten into it like, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whenever that was. Yeah, just, it's been so good for my mental health. It's been great for my connection with, the world around me. And yeah, it's like, I'm so comfortable being evangelical about this particular hobby because, like you said, there's such a wide spectrum. It's like people have this concept of like aggressive, competitive birding, and it's like that's not really the thing, Like you can do that, but there's also a lot of birders who look down on that too, So,
this is gonna. I don't know if it'll sound weird, but it's oddly often I feel like people that are really into photography that can be a little more, I need to get the perfect photograph, and they're not as interested in enjoying the bird. That's the thing I've seen. I have not really run into anyone who's like just crazy about making a list. Like I think like 99% of the birders I run to are just super nice people that want to help you and see what you're up to. Sometimes if people are really just trying to get a photo, that's when I feel like it can be a little bit more, the experience becomes about getting the photo instead of like enjoying the bird. That's kind of what I see more often.
Yeah, it makes sense that could easily slip into being kind of an extractive relationship
Yeah.
with birding. Yeah. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Have you ran into any questionable characters while birding?
I'm actually kind of excited to run into more because for me, birding has been such a solitary activity that like I don't really know. I don't do social birding. Like it's for me like a way to clear my head and to like, like today I was like birding up in the Angeles National Forest north of Los Angeles, and yeah, it's just a way for me to get out of work and just like enter a different headspace. So I've been like very hesitant to like do it as a social activity because that's like the opposite of what I'm using it for. But like I'm intrigued by it because every time I meet other birders, they're very cool. Like I like birders and relate to them. So like I really should like one of these days like actually do an Audubon or Sierra Club.
You're gonna have tons of fun at the festival, I feel like.
I can't wait.
There's such cool experiences.
We're so pumped. We're trying to get on the circuit. We're like
You
we're
got
putting
you got
together.
to, yeah.
Yeah, we're there's a couple other birding conventions that we're talking to. So yeah, hopefully we can do more. We're trying to be we're trying to be the number one bird rock band on the circuit.
Do you know how much competition there is?
I don't think there's any. So I think we might
You're on
already
the
be the number
fast
one.
track. You need to have them start a bird song themed radio station, and then you can be like, you gotta play our stuff all the time.
Yeah. We play anything about birds.
Yeah. Well, there's the Madison band, Quoco, that does some of the bird stuff.
Oh, that's
so
true. That is
hey, guys,
that
do
is bird
have,
rock.
maybe there is enough to have a whole station. I don't know.
You're right. And do you know Bonner Black?
I've never met her, but I've heard of her, and
She's awesome. She's awesome. We had her on the podcast, and then I hung out with her in Nashville a couple weeks ago on tour. But yeah, for anyone listening who hasn't, Bonner Black makes very, very funny birding content, kind of in vertical video form across the internet, and also a great songwriter.
Are you worried about her stealing the bird theme song Spotlight in the radio station charts?
No, I'm not concerned. In fact, I'm sure we're going to do a collaboration at some point. I think it was one of those things where just all three of us talking, we were just like, I think we need to maybe form another bird band, or maybe this is a 3-person bird band, or I don't know what's happening here, but yeah, good vibes.
Was there ever a thought of taking a song you did for the bird group and bringing it into the band?
Well, it's funny. So Jesse, who's the drummer of Jukebox the Ghost, he plays drums on almost all the bird songs, and a couple of them, he's like, this. Why is this song about birds? Make this should be a Jukebox the Ghost song. So there's been a couple that have been like, yeah, normal rock songs that he was like, why is this about birds?
I think a lot of people say that about people that like birds. Like, why is this about birds? Like, why is your whole life about birds? It's a common theme,
Yeah, totally.
I also wore, this was a shirt that I designed, but I thought you'd appreciate it.
Oh, wait, where can I buy that? That's sick.
On our merch store.
Do you have that on your merch store?
We do, yeah.
Cause yeah, I have like one comedy bird shirt, and it's like my favorite shirt, and I wear it like
you should check out our merch store. We have Life is Rough. Rough is a type of bird.
Yep. Wow.
Nuts about nuthatches. I mean, could go on and on about that kind of stuff.
Oh man, I've been sleeping on this merch store. That's
100%.
That's amazing.
Well, cool, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Anything else you want to mention about, your life in bird? I guess I wanted to ask if you played Pokemon as a kid, because I feel like that's kind of a gateway to people getting into birds, because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, I did not. I mean, I've gathered that does seem to be a gateway. I think I'm too old.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm 40, so like when Pokemon came out, I don't know. I didn't know anybody my age that was playing Pokemon, but maybe I wasn't running in the right circles. Like, in high school, or I knew a couple people, but they were being cute. You know what I mean? Like, they were being like,
first came out in 1996.
Okay, but I feel like it didn't really catch on until like 99 in the States or something. Like I don't remember hearing about it until I was like,
okay, US release in 1998. So that first one was the Japan release.
Okay. So I do feel like I missed the boat a little bit. Like I was trying to impress girls by the time Pokemon got big. You know what I mean?
You don't think there's overlap there?
It might, maybe it, I mean, it, yeah.
You flash a PSA 10 Charizard, like, I don't know.
Totally. Were you into it?
Yeah, like me and my brother played when we were younger. Like the Nintendo and like the DS games for Pokemon were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like now they have put like the Pokemon Go thing that has, took the world by storm. Like I don't remember a couple years ago, but I mean that's still pretty cool. But birding is basically just that in real life.
It really is. Actually, one of my most surreal experiences in New York was I was just sitting in the park at night in Central Park, and it just like I heard kind of a commotion, and I looked over this like stone wall, and there was an old man feeding probably like 100 raccoons. Like it was like a seething mass of raccoons, and I was just watching this unfold. I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like I didn't know there could be that many raccoons. And meanwhile, this whole group of teenagers runs by, all looking at their phones, trying to find like a Pokemon Go animal. And I kind of wanted to be like, you guys, this is the craziest animal thing I've ever seen is happening right here.
You're like, every raccoon in New York is in the park right now.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
What was he feeding the raccoons? That can't be like legal, right? In Central Park, I'm assuming.
Yeah, in Central Park. And he was, it's one of those things where I don't think someone like him realizes he's leading the raccoons to their death, right? Like, that is what it's going to take for the city to exterminate them, to have like this mass of raccoons looking for food.
They might make a super raccoon. I don't know.
Truly. Yeah, that was nuts. I have no idea what he was feeding them.
Maybe steroids. I don't know. You come back like a year later and they're all just like massive, like jacked raccoon.
It's one of my regrets that back then I was too cheap to pay for iCloud. So like somewhere on an old phone, it's like a video of like the most terrifying amount of raccoons anyone's ever seen.
That could have been a totally viral video. I think you really missed out on that.
So.
No. Do you have any experiences like that with birds? Where it was just like this unbelievable encounter?
Unbelievable encounter. I'd almost have to like look at a list to, like of birds I've seen to like jog my memory. I mean, during the pandemic, and this was like, I know they're not that uncommon, but I was living with some friends in Florida, just like doing work from home at an Airbnb in Weeki Wachee, Florida, where there's a lot of manatees. And yeah, we just had this pair of sandhill cranes that were hanging out the whole time we were there. And just watching them do the dance that they do, which I talked about earlier, but like, where they take like Spanish moss and like toss it in the air and do like dance moves to each other. I just found like, yeah, just kind of mind blowing. It's sort of like, if anyone had ever wondered, like, did dinosaurs experience love? It's like, watch that and tell me that like love hasn't been on this planet for like billions, like for 1 billion years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, very cool.
I feel like you have a lot of cool experiences on the horizon, like seeing California condors at the Grand Canyon, like that kind of thing.
Well, it's funny. I've been to the Grand Canyon twice since getting into birding, and I've been on the lookout. I've not seen a California condor. Have you?
Slacking, man. Yeah, that's where we got our lifers.
Sick.
And then they all have like the tags on them, so you can like look up what the individual condor, like their life story and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I do feel lucky in the sense that like I'm still excited about a great horned owl. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
well, you never get not excited about a great horned owl.
Yeah, they're cool, right?
Yeah, there's certain birds that you just never tire of seeing, like even if you've seen them 100 times.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you can always see them doing a different thing. Like I've seen a great horned owl, but I've never seen one catching a mouse, or something like that.
Skiing, yeah.
Yeah, or skiing, or walking around in high heels if you're depicting them or something.
Yeah. Oh, I should mention, it's just so my publisher doesn't yell at me, I do have a, coming out next year on Running Press, I've got a field guide to extremely accurate birds coming out in April. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
How many birds are in that?
It's kind of like a field guide to common birds of North America, backyard birds. But how many species did I do? I think around 100, and so it's like a 220-page field guide. It took an entire year and a half.
Do you run out of poses for the birds?
I did start to. Yeah, I did start.
I feel like that would be, something that would be somewhat limiting.
The other curse that I ran into is that, just sort of that hours spent doing something to become actually good at it. Like I started hitting that point with, I think, bird drawing, like somewhere in the middle of working on the book. And so by the time I finished it, I had to wrap back around and redraw.
You're just like, this first one's terrible.
Well, it's down to like, I mean, I don't know about you, but like, wing anatomy can be pretty, like, it takes a while to really register what's happening there. It's just a totally different way of thinking about, I don't know. It's just a different body part that we don't have, So like, once I realized like how it always works, it changed everything. So then I had to go back and redraw all the wings in the book because I was like, I didn't draw the Alula. You know what I mean? Like,
that's funny. That well, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
That with these you're like, but the wing and that.
I know, it's so funny because I'm definitely, when I fixate on the wing, for example, I mean, like when I told friends about that, like how much work I had to do to like redraw the wings, they were like, dude, no one is looking at that on your drawings. But I think what's funny about these extremely accurate birds for me, and I think what keeps me doing it, is that like I'm genuinely trying to get better at drawing birds. And so the legs, you'll notice like there's there's so much detail on the top half of the bird, and I spent so much time doing those, and then you get to the bottom half, there's no details.
Yeah.
I draw the bottom half in like 2 minutes.
So do you always start with the top half then?
Yeah. I'm always they always start with something that looks like
I missed the yellow. Yeah,
bird.
There's the yellow-rumped warbler.
Yep. There's that butterbutt. Very excited for the yellow-rumped warbler episode. Is our next episode coming out, and we did like, it's kind of like a Justin Timberlake sort of.
Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
I won't. But just a little.
So I will say, like, though, the top half looks pretty accurate. Like,
it's pretty accurate.
If you wanted to, you probably could actually illustrate. I don't want to say a less accurate field, a differently accurate field guide. If you wanted to,
that's how I started doing it.
Right.
I was doing fully accurate. Yeah, and
because I mean, like you got like some of the really fine details on here. Like, I mean, the green heron bill looks great. The spoon bill, the little hook on the bill here.
Yeah. No, I think the scrub jay. I was the scrub jay and the meadowlark, and the grosbeak. I think are like those three in a row that we're looking at right now are kind of, those are three of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. Well, cool. I can say you're the only person we've had on our podcast to talk about something like this. So,
well, I love the pod. Honored that you asked me to be on, and we'd be Billy and I would be absolutely tickled to have you on the Extremely Accurate Birds podcast as a judge.
Yeah, man, that'd be fun. Have you ever gotten like ridiculous criticism for the drawings, or is it mostly people like that kind of play along with the?
Most people play along with it.
There's nobody that bought it and was like, this field guide this bird has human leg. Like nobody's kind of.
No, I've never gotten anyone in that. I mean, I've been very something of utmost concern for me is that I want to make sure that it's all fundamentally like a Trojan horse for birding, like that it's like a sure, it's comedic, but like I'm not making, in my mind, I'm not making fun of birding or of birds, just like a way to, have a sense of humor with something in nature, right? But yeah, it is very funny to me how different the eye of the beholder is, like, because birders, I think, see the drawings that I'm doing and like, on some level they know that like this guy's not like, he must care about birds because these are too detailed. You know what I mean? And for non-birders, I think they think that I've noticed a lot of non-birders, like just normal people, they don't think I'm a birder. Like they think I'm like doing a bit, and I'm like, do you really think if I wasn't into birds that I would be drawing this many birds like this? But Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
But it always, yeah, it tickles me when like anybody like reaches out who's like not a birder and they're like, I saw the bird for March, like my feeder, and I'm like,
they're like, it
yes,
looked just like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, cool, man. Thanks so much for coming on to chat. Definitely hit us up if you're in town. We can do some birding together.
yeah. Hey, likewise with LA too.
Yeah.
If you end up doing any West Coast birding or the San Diego birding festival.
Yeah, we might actually be out in the San Diego area at some point, so we'll definitely keep you posted on that.
Yeah, please do. And yeah, thanks for having me in the pod, and excited to have you on our pod.
Yeah, where's the best place people can check out your stuff?
Across social media, just under my name, Tommy Siegel, Siegel, and but also we've Extremely Accurate Birds podcast. We have a new Instagram, just at Extremely Accurate Birds. But yeah,
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Tommy, and thanks to everybody for watching and listening to this episode of the Badgerland Birding Podcast.